Okay, Alan, you're on.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today. My name is Alan Kisak, and I am the marketing chair for Maine Summer Camps, as well as the director of Kingsley Pines Camp. Hopefully, all of you have had a chance to see the new website design, which we are all very excited about it. It was a long process to get it where it is today, but we think it's going to have a really big impact on people finding us and having a positive experience when they reach our site. What we're going to do today is we're going to start by looking at a listing so that I can show you all of the different options you have for your camp listing. And then we're actually going to go on and update a listing, and you can at the same time do it with me so we can work through all the different options. If you remember from the previous website, it was fairly limited in what you could do. You had a kind of a brief description, and it was just a block of text. And in the new site, things are very, very, very different. As we're going along here, you will see an option to ask questions, and you can use that function while we're on the webinar. You'll see it, and feel free to chime in as we go along if there's something that you have a question about, because that was probably something somebody else is thinking too. We want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors here at Androscoggin Bank for providing this facility as well as the equipment to make this webinar possible. In general, it's very important that you keep your listing current and that you update it. So I'm very excited that you're with us today. This directory is going to be only as good as each of our listings because we want it to be credible. And so when people come to the site, as they start looking through camps, we want the latest information in each listing. It's going to lack credibility if someone goes to a camp and all the rates and dates are from 2 years ago, that kind of thing. So you'll find that it's very easy to update your listing, and it's helpful to all of us. It benefits all of us as if you keep that listing current. So what we're going to start by doing is looking at an online listing. So if you go up to Find a Camp and you click on Find a Camp tool, and then you open the search toolbox, what you're going to see over on the left is a criteria that people have selected for camps. And what I want to point out here is if you look at Kingsley Pines, which we're going to use as an example today, and what I've done is I've put a lot of different elements into it so we can showcase all the options that you'll have. But one element that you'll find is what you see here where it says you can't go very far. That's what's called the message excerpt, and that's one thing that you have control over. So for each camp in the search function, you have a limited number of words that you can put in there so that people will get a brief overview of your camp. So then once they do that, you go to the See More, and this is what the listing looks like. So you'll see at the top the camp name, and the camp name is not something that you can change. That's fixed. Then you'll see right below that there's the camp type and the sessions, and that's something that you have control over, and I can show you where that is once we start to actually construct a listing. Over on the left, you have the option to put either a logo or a photo. So I have put in a logo, but you could put a photo there if that was something that you wanted to do. One of the big differences between now and the old listing is that you have so much more control over what the text looks like. So it doesn't have to be just a block of text. So for example, in this listing, you can see here I've created headers for the different topics. You can also see that you can bold text And you can also italicize text to bring attention to it. The other thing that you can do, which is really amazing, is that you can insert links. So if we look here, we say our trained counselors have a genuine interest and compassion for children. Great, so what's that all about? I can link to our amazing staff page. And you could do the same kind of thing. Say, for example, that you had a trips program and that was a big part of your camp. You could link to the trips page. Another thing you can do is that some people have a complicated schedule, many different sessions. You can have a link to your rates and dates page or your schedule page. So there's so many options. Again, down here, you know, we talk about activities, and here I link to our activity page, and it takes people right there. The other thing that you can do is you can also put in a list. So here I just used activities just to create a list, but you can create this list, bulleted list, and that's another option that you have. So after the description, you also have a chance to put in the ages, the oldest to youngest, the year that the camp was founded, and then when the camp season begins and ends. And also you immediately here have a link and where you can link to your web page. Down here, this is tuition per week. There's only 3 options here, and I'll show those to you, and you can pick one of those 3. Under the additional here, there's several different functions. There's ACA accredited, facility rental, whether financial aid is available, whether the camp has a religious focus and special needs. You'll see here that the sessions are repeated, and that will be removed. We're still tweaking some aspects of the site. So remember, if you go back up here, right at the top, this is where you have the sessions that you have to offer. And there's several options for that, and I'll show you that in a minute. Contact information over here is something that you have control over and can change. We'll show you how to edit that. Next, you'll have activities, and you can put in whatever activities you want and have. The next option you have is to put in a video, and you can do that simply from pasting in a link from, you know, YouTube or Vimeo, that kind of thing. And then finally, you have a picture gallery, and you can paste in whatever pictures you like, and when people click on it, they get a gallery of your photos.
I'm going to add, there's only 9 photos in the gallery.
And don't add any more.
9 photos.
Can I hear that? Okay. How do I get rid of it? Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the login page, and so what I'd like you to do here is to go to the login, your login page with me, and log into your camp. So let me just find. So if you go here, it says Camp Members, and you click on Camp Login. So go ahead right now and log into your page. I am already logged in. So I'm going to go right there. And we're going to talk about how to actually update your listing. One of the things that when Ron had sent out the invitation for this event, he asked if you guys would have some type of description readily available. So if you have that, that's awesome. And we're going to paste that in just a second. And hopefully some photos so we can add those too. So we're just using Wawanock's listing today just as an example, and we're going to actually take out their text for right now. And so right now you somewhere have some text or something. I have some text that I've put into Microsoft Word that I'm going to go over and I'm going to copy so that I can paste it into my listing. So I go back to the listing, And so let's talk a minute about pasting. So I know some of you are on Macs, and I know some of you are on PCs. So if you're on a PC, what you want to do is right-click and see where it says paste as plain text. That's what you want to paste. You don't want to use this paste, you want to use paste as plain text. If you're on a Mac, you want to do the same thing, and the way to paste as plain text on a Mac is to use Option, Shift, Command, and V all at the same time to paste it in. Again, that's Option, Shift, Command, and the letter V, and that will paste it in as plain text. We're going to rebuild this kind of the same way that I had showed you that the completed Kingsley Pines listing was a minute ago. So first off, we go to Safe Surroundings, and Safe Surroundings, we want to make this a header so it stands out. So if you go up here, you'll see that you have the option to either format text as a paragraph, a header 2, or a header 3. A header 2 is larger than a header 3. So I'm going to make this a header 2, and there we go. And then we also had activities as a header, so we make that as a header. And we had enriching environment. We make that as a header also. Now you can also, as I said before, you can bold text and that kind of thing. And so let's say that you think free to just be a kid is something you'd like to emphasize. You can bold it right up there like that. Same kind of thing if you thought that camp gives kids a true sense of who they are. And that sentence right there, you could also do it in italics. You could also